Two massive trains on the same track at high speed collided. That's supposed to be impossible in a modern railway system. And yet, it happened on April 27, 2026 in Bekasi, Indonesia. This is the story of one of the most shocking rail accidents in Indonesia's modern history. A high-speed intercity train, Argo Bromo Anggrek, slammed into a commuter train, KRL commuter line, that was stopped at a station. 16 people died, dozens were injured. But this is a story about a crash, this is a story about a system failure. Because what happened in Bekasi wasn't random, right? It was a chain reaction, a domino effect triggered by something as small as a stalled car and amplified by deeper systemic weaknesses. On the night of April 27, around 8:50 p.m. at Bekasi Timur Station, a commuter train was stopped on the track. Moments later, a long-distance train approached at high speed, reportedly over 100 kilometers per hour. It didn't stop in time. The impact was devastating. The locomotive of the Argo Bromo Anggrek punched into the rear cars of the commuter train. The worst hit section was a woman-only carriage. That's why most of the victims were women. So, what caused this? Surprisingly, it didn't start with the trains. It started with a car. About 300 meters before the station, at an unofficial level crossing, a road crossing the railway without proper barriers, a taxi stalled on the tracks. Let me explain why that matters. A level crossing is where a road and a railway intersect at the same level. In advanced systems, these crossings are protected by automatic gates, warning signals, or eliminated entirely using bridges or tunnels. But in many parts of Indonesia, unofficial crossings still exist. No gates, no signals. Sometimes there's a bamboo stick put up by locals. Here's where things escalated. The stalled taxi was hit by an earlier commuter train. That disrupted the rail system near the station. Another commuter train was forced to stop suddenly. Meanwhile, the Argo Bromo Anggrek was approaching fast from behind. And then, collision. This is what experts call a chain reaction accident. One small disruption triggers multiple failures until catastrophe becomes unavoidable. Now, here's a key question. Why didn't the system stop the second train? Well, modern railways rely on multiple layers of safety. First, signal systems, right? Green means go, yellow means slow down, red means stop immediately. Second, automatic train protection, or ATP. This system can automatically slow down or even stop a train if the driver fails to respond. They're really like an emergency braking system, but for trains. Third, constant communication between the train and a central control center. In Bekasi, several things may have failed at once. There were reports of signal irregularities. The driver reportedly saw green, then suddenly red, without the expected yellow warning. That's not normal. It suggests a disruption in the signaling system. There may also have been external interference. The stalled electric taxi could have caused electrical issues or system confusion. Modern signaling systems are sensitive. Unexpected disturbances can create dangerous inconsistencies. Then there's the mixed traffic problem. On the same track, you have slow commuter trains that stop frequently and high-speed intercity trains. That's inherently risky. In many advanced countries, these systems are separated. And finally, the root issue, illegal crossings. Indonesia still has thousands of level crossings, many of them unofficial. Each one is a potential disaster point. Now let's talk about responsibility, because legally this gets complicated. The train operator, Kereta Indonesia, has what's called strict liability toward passengers. That means they must compensate victims even if they didn't directly cause the accident. The taxi driver, if proven negligent, could face criminal charges for triggering the chain reaction. The train driver could also be liable if they ignored signals or failed to brake appropriately. But if the system itself failed, then responsibility shifts. And that brings us to the deeper issue, systemic liability. If investigators find poor maintenance, unsafe infrastructure, or tolerance of illegal crossings, responsibility may extend beyond individuals to the system itself. The tragedy reveals something uncomfortable. It wasn't just human error, it was, system vulnerability. A modern railway system should be fail-safe, redundant, and predictive. But here, one stalled car was enough to break everything. The Bekasi train crash is not just a tragedy. It's warning, okay? A warning about infrastructure gaps, safety weaknesses, and the risks of ignoring small problems. Because in complex systems, there are no small failures. 16 lives were lost, many more were injured, and all of it could have been prevented. The real question now is, will anything actually change?